Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trench Talk. It is Shane alongside Coach Phil. We are back with episode number 4. This week, we will be talking the best offenses and best defenses for the decade since 1990 all the way up until now. This is gonna be a very fun episode. We're gonna dive into both sides of the ball on this one. This was Coach Phil's idea, so you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I think this is a really good idea. I personally really liked it. Allow me to go back in time into an era of football where I wasn't alive for, and Coach Phil wasn't alive for most of it. So it was a lot of fun practice for me. Um, but yeah, Coach, how you doing? And how are you feeling about today's episode?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Getting ready to celebrate my 32nd birthday on Saturday. I'm
Happy
getting
birthday.
old. Thank you. I'm getting old, dog. I'm an old fucker. Now I'm excited about this episode. I'm a big fan of looking back and seeing how the game was and how it correlates to today. That whole could they adapt to today's game and all that. So I'm excited to see what we're gonna come up with, man. Because I know offenses back then were just becoming crazy.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of weird to see the rise of the offense in the 90s and then the dip in the 2000s because looking at it from just a stats perspective, it is crazy to see some of the differences from even like the late 90s into the early 2000s and how the game has evolved from 2002, 2003 all the way up until now, but the 90s were a different type of ball, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, do you want to get started on defense for the 90s?
Now you know what? I'm a feed off of you this time, man. I'm gonna go. Let's see what offense you got first for the '90s.
For me, I think this is probably going to be the easiest take and probably the most agreed upon take. Were the Stampeders with Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, any offense that had Doug Flutie on it in the 90s was going to be the most exciting offense. So we can realistically just say an offense with Doug Flutie. Um, but the mid 90s to late 90s Stampeders was just an air show.
Okay. I can't even argue that. I mean, one of my favorite offenses in CFL history. I mean, look, you gotta look at the offense, man. One of my favorite receiver of all time, Alan Pitts. You've got Kelvin Anderson. You've got Doug Flutie. You've got other weapons around him. Offensive line strong as hell. And they were running. And the funny thing was, they were running concepts that they're still using today. They were the original RPO. If you listen to
Yeah.
Doug Flutie talk about it, some of the concepts that they had back then were like the godfather of the RPO that we see today. So I was kind of expecting an underrated offensively, those Toronto offenses.
With or
But they was
without
more
Flutie?
ground, a little more ground heavy
With or without Flutie?
with Flutie.
Yeah, that's fair. See, I really like Alan Pitts. Like, I think Alan Pitts, I don't even think it should be a question. And I know Milt Stegall will probably have something to say. He usually does around it, but like he had nine 1,000+ yard seasons. The only time he had under 1,000 yards was in '93 when he played 7 games and he had 776 yards. And then 1997, he played 11 games and 885 yards. So 1,000 game pace both those years, put up a 2,000 yard receiving season in '94, like 117 touchdowns in his career, over almost 15,000 receiving yards. Crazy.
See, that's the thing about Alan Pitts that I love, man, is he showed that even without Doug, because people would all I've read some articles and I've seen some videos where they say, well, Alan Pitt, everybody was only successful because Flutie was the quarterback. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. When Casey Printers took over, not Casey, what was it? Crandall, Marcus Crandall in the Grey Cup, Dave Dickinson at quarterback. He showed that he could still produce and put up numbers. And the fact that he was 6'4", about 195, maybe 200 pounds soaking wet, that man could play. And it was just a mismatch. To me, he was what Randy Moss was when he came out in 98. But Alan Pitts had been doing it for almost a decade. So, hey, I can't. And I know Milt's going to have something to say because we're going to clip this. We're going to put it up there. Milt was amazing. Milt was
great.
Milt's the GOAT. But Alan Pitts was a different beast. When you've got a guy that's built like a greyhound and can run almost any route concept that you have for him, that's a mismatch.
Here, and this is going to be controversial, but Pitts should be regarded in the CFL the same way Jerry Rice is held in the NFL. And I'm not saying that they go toe to toe, even though I think Alan Pitts in a system in the NFL probably puts up very, very good numbers. But Alan Pitts was like your picture perfect CFL receiver. He was big, he was tall, he was a decent route runner. He wasn't great, but he didn't matter where he was on the field. He was the definition of throw it up and he'll get it. But he could just beat you one-on-one. He'd use the size of the field to his advantage to get open, to create mismatches. He was just that guy that you're like, when I think of a CFL receiver and think of like what receivers can do on a CFL field, he's the guy that I think of.
See, the only thing, and if I could, we give constructive criticism, obviously, here. My only constructive criticism when it came to Alan Pitts, in certain games, sometimes in the biggest games, he never really put up the biggest numbers. And that's okay. It wasn't like he put up, Grey Cup MVP numbers, but he still was a target. You still, as a defense, we would have to key on him. We're not going to let him get anything because his catch radius was amazing. But he did have some drops, but you got to give him his flowers. You got to.
And I mean, I think there's not a single receiver in the CFL where you look at it and you're like, oh, you consistently performed in Grey Cups.
Yeah.
Like, you're human. You're going to have not necessarily a bad game, but a game where if you're a top receiver, defenses in a Grey Cup are going to force your quarterback and force your offense to win without you.
Yeah. Like, look at Jackson Smith and Jigba in the Super Bowl. He only had 2 catches and got hurt. But he's the offensive player of the year. Not everybody's going to be Cooper Kupp and have a triple crown, offensive player of the year, and Super Bowl MVP. That's one of those rare cases. But when we're talking CFL, even the great Milt Stegall when I interviewed him, he only had his first Grey Cup. He only had, I think, 3 catches. And then the second one, he went off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no rings for Milt.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the Bombers were incompetent for most of his career and he never wanted. Man, loyalty to a fault there. Nothing but respect for Milt. Nothing but respect for Milt. But when you spend your entire career in Winnipeg and I don't know, I feel like maybe you should have, near the end of your career, no one would have complained if you went out somewhere, went to Calgary or Edmonton and tried to win a ring. Like every great receiver does it. No one would have faulted you. I think maybe some of them would have faulted you for if you went to Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
But if you went to Calgary, BC, Edmonton, no one would have faulted you for trying to chase a ring near the end of your career. It's like G. Simon when he went from BC to Saskatchewan in like 2013 at the end of his career to get his second ring. Like no one would have faulted him. But I think like the 90s Stampeders offense will always be one of the most fun offenses to watch.
Okay. I fuck with that. That's
like I wasn't alive for the 90s, so I had to go back on YouTube and watch a lot of highlights. And when you look up 90s CFL highlights, it feels like 95% of them are just Doug Flutie highlights. And because he spent a majority of his CFL time in Calgary, it's just Calgary highlights.
Yeah.
Like 95, like I'd say like 80% of that 95% is just Doug Flutie in Calgary. So Calgary, but realistically, when he was with BC and Saskatchewan and Toronto, those offenses were also really dangerous. So you could just say it's a Doug Flutie offense.
Yeah. I mean, and people, for people that are listening that haven't really watched did not watch CFL back then, think of it like who could you compare that decade of just Calgary dominance? Who would you compare it to in the NFL?
I mean, I want to say they won in 92 and then they won in 98. But I feel in terms of best way to put it, probably a Lamar Jackson. Actually, you know what? Perfect example. Mike Vick, early 2000, like if Mike Vick was on the 07 Patriots instead of Tom Brady. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I know it doesn't make it it's hard. The NFL doesn't really have a comparable that I can think of off the top of my head.
Explosive, like weapons galore.
Weapons, and Doug Flutie himself could make defenders miss like no tomorrow. Like we talk about the Mike Vick Madden 04 cheat code. Well, I was just Doug Flutie every time he stepped on a field in the CFL. He would just make defenders miss. He'd hit a guy in stride on the run. Like he was a magician. What Mike Vick was doing in the NFL, Doug Flutie was doing in the CFL in the 90s, but with better weapons.
And the only argument people have against those Calgary teams with Doug, they didn't win more. They won, they beat Winnipeg, but that was it. That cold, they said Doug couldn't play in the cold. And they had home field advantage majority of the time.
Yeah. And you lost to Baltimore. Pretty sure that he lost to Matt Dunnigan, who also, hopefully he's back on TSN. Whatever, he just kind of dropped off the face of the earth ahead of last season. So whatever's going on, hopefully he's good. Hopefully he's back on TSN this year.
Yeah.
But what's a shame? Just before we go back to go to the defense of the 90s, is Matt Dunnigan's 700 plus yard game.
Yes.
There's no film of it.
I've looked everywhere. I've tried, and I wanted to see it because I wanted to react to it. But can we give Matt Dunnigan his flowers? Can we please give him his flowers?
He's arguably a top 5 quarterback in the CFL all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can argue who's number 1. I know statistically it's Calvillo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who will put Doug Flutie at number 1.
You got to throw Damon Allen in the conversation.
Damon Allen's in the conversation. Ricky Ray's 100% in the conversation.
Oh, yeah. We had the conversation the last episode. We're talking about Ricky Ray.
Yeah. He's 100% in that conversation. But Damon Allen or Matt Dunnigan should be, especially if we're looking from 90s onward, should 100% be in that conversation between that 3 and 5 spot.
He had a little bit of Brett Favre in him as far as I'm talking about MVP back-to-back seasons of Brett Favre of just he was that wild card. He was going to sling it. He was going to throw it. Only thing was, man, he got dinged up a lot and took some blows. But Matt Dunnigan I believe Dunnigan deserves his flowers. But as far as moving forward, let's talk defense. And I had a very, because I've watched a lot of the 90s. I wanted to go with either Edmonton's defense under Ron Lancaster, but my heart is telling me I'm going to go with either Baltimore's defense, unconscious, or I'm going to go with those Toronto defenses, back-to-back Grey Cups.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because what separates each of those defenses, and it's hard to choose, man, because it was just badass defenses. Toronto's defense was probably the most between Toronto and Baltimore. Baltimore's defense was perfect. It complemented its offense. It was a run-heavy offense with Mike Pringle. All he had to do was just go out there, hit a motherfucker, and we're going to get the ball back. There wasn't any really big names other than Elfrid Payton. They were just a complete defense. But Toronto's defense, they were just ball hawks. They reminded me a lot of the Legion of Boom. You knew if you're going to throw the ball, they're going to go get it. It was a bunch of it was a bunch of Richard Shermans out there. They weren't the biggest, they weren't the tallest, but they were ball hawks and they were going to go make plays. You have Mike O'Shea leading the way inside the box. You've got a very strong front line. If I could pick one, I'd have to go just because they got Mike O'Shea in that secondary. I got to go with Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy about Baltimore. I think like one of the reasons why people don't like the expansion talk is because Baltimore, on like all the other expansion teams, were just allowed to dress all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was no ratio requirement for them when they were playing.
Right.
And people believed it gave them an unfair advantage. To be fair, the only successful American team was so successful that it brought the NFL back.
Yeah.
Like I think people forget that like if Baltimore didn't succeed with the CFL with the Stallions, we don't have the Ravens.
Because look how the way they packed out Memorial Stadium. Every game, 40,000 people. 40,000 people at least. 40,000 at the most.
They embraced it.
Yeah, because the way they lost their team was fucked up.
100%. But them succeeding with the Stallions is exactly what led the Ravens to be back.
But you know what though? You know the thing that the glue, the piece that made them who they were, Don Matthews, the head coach.
Yeah.
He absolutely the right guy to lead that team because he had the experience. A lot of team, and the reason why a lot of the expansion failed was because they were getting guys as head coaches who knew nothing about Canadian football. Don Matthews had been up there. He knew the game. He knew how to adjust and get guys. You have Tracy Ham. You've got Pringle, Chris Armstrong. You've got a strong offensive line, but the defense, as far as talking defense, you couldn't ask for anything better. So I'll agree with you on Baltimore, but I still love that Toronto. From a flashy perspective and making big plays, Toronto. But as far as
Toronto would still just beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they remind me of like what people talk about, like the 01 Ravens defense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where they'd beat you up, beat you in, and then just take the ball from you whenever you made a mistake. Those 96, 97, even like through the end when they had Doug Flutie, that like 4 or 5 year era with the Argos, it was kind of the same mentality. We'll beat you in, we'll beat you up, and we'll take the ball whenever you make a mistake.
And you know what's funny was when you look at that team, 14 wins the first season with Flutie. I think they had 14 or 13 or 12 wins the next season, but the defense never had an issue. They never met a match that a team where they were outclassed or outmatched. They were just a matchup nightmare as far as we're going to beat you in because our linebacker, Mike O'Shea, is going to run the show and make sure everybody's in position, and we're just going to hit you. We're going to fucking punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. And they never let off the gas. It was go, go, go all the time.
Oh, yeah. And even when they played, like I remember they played, it was back-to-back years they played Montreal in the East Final, and they would just wear out Montreal. They would just beat them down. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, I look back at the Argos, and it's just they always have one thing in common. Like you look at any of their Grey Cup wins, 2017, 2024, 2022, 04, the 90s, their defense would just literally beat people up.
They set the standard. Their defenses, even the year after they won the Grey Cup in Regina, that defense was better than the defense that they had in the Grey Cup against Winnipeg. And then the year that they won, when we were all in Vancouver for the Grey Cup, that defense was nasty. You got Jake Ceresno, Winton, Tavares McFadden, that whole Ben Franklin, unsung hero, just nasty.
Yeah, it's, again, beat you up, beat you in, and take the ball whenever you make a mistake. Like that is seems to be the core. Whenever they ever have that type of defense, they're gonna win the Grey Cup.
Unconscious.
Yeah. I miss the 90s. The 90s ball was so maybe it's just a nostalgia thing, But looking back on 90s highlights, it's just like, man, the CFL really missed the mark on marketing this league.
You know what it was, and people don't want. I think I've had this discussion a few times on X, and I've talked about it on the channel, on my channel. CBC needs to get the rights back. Not everybody has a feeling about TSN, but CBC presented it so damn well.
Here's my thing. I think TSN, the problem is Bell doesn't want to put the money in.
Yeah.
And we sit here and complain that, like, I mean, I've been very vocal about the fact that you'll see like poker or darts or timber sports and what all these different things. You'll see you'll see NCAA football, NCAA basketball, hockey. There's times where you have like gymnastics on. It's like, but none of it. They don't pay anything in production costs. They just simulcast it off ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
They're not putting in any production money to broadcast these sports.
They don't even market the CFL when they post stuff on Twitter. And I've been critical of that for the last 2-3 years about when they make these tweets and they talk about all the sports that the leagues that they have. Never once do they incorporate the CFL in there. It's like they're ashamed to market the CFL. Even when Toronto won the Grey Cup a couple years ago, they didn't even really like put it up there on their something about champions. It was I saw it on Twitter. It was something about they all have all the teams, their Toronto teams that have won championships.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't have nothing about the Argonauts.
Yeah, they always put in that big 4 in like fine print. They show like the Blue Jays, the Raptors, the Leafs, and then
Soccer, MLS.
And then they'll do MLS, and then they'll be like big 4. Like,
you have a fucking league in Canada.
Yeah, I know. And then you also obviously have the TSN issue when they're like, "Oh, here's all the big days coming down." And it's like, where the hell is the CFL? You're putting the like, no offense to WNBA, but like you're putting the WNBA, you're putting like drafts in there, but you don't even have like CFL opening day.
Well, they just got and you know what's funny? Toronto just got a WNBA team, the Toronto Tempo. So they're going to get more play and more shine. You know,
such a stupid logo and color scheme.
Well, colors I can tolerate. I can kind of tolerate the colors.
It looks like they just rated the auto, like they rated the auto with Gigi's locker room and just took a bunch of their jerseys and slapped their ugly ass logo on it. Like, I don't know. I feel my thing, and this is for both, is like, why aren't you like, you have the Spark, you have the Storm, you have the Mercury, you have the Mystics, like you have other teams that their colorway is associated with or similar to the men's NBA colors.
Their brother,
right?
Their brother team, yeah.
Yeah, like they're connected.
Yeah.
Why didn't the Tempo do something similar with the Raptors? I feel like even if you do like a purple, like you take the purple out, because they don't, like, the Raptors don't really use the purple and silver anymore.
No.
Why not take the purple and silver that people really, really enjoy and really like and use that? Why don't you dig in and do like the Huskies color and do blue and white? That's kind of like connecting the Toronto teams too, because you have the Blue Jays and the Leafs. Like, why the burgundy and white silverish colorway that doesn't seem to have like really any connection to the city?
Because they didn't do their due diligence and think about that.
Like, I talk about this on, like, for the PWHL too, where it's like, I get it, you want to make your own identity, your own brand, but when you have established, brands in a sport, that even if you start off and you're like, hey, I'm gonna utilize this, put out an image that people recognize and associate with the city, I feel like that's just kind of easy, like an easy win for these leagues. They miss on it.
Because when I went to Toronto for when we talked about it when I went there for the lacrosse game with the Toronto Rock. First of all, I didn't realize they play in Hamilton, number one.
Yeah, they've been in Hamilton for a couple of years now.
Number two, the Toronto Scepters had a booth on the main concourse, whatever. And it was the first time I really actually noticed their colors are blue and yellow.
Yeah, they're blue and yellow.
It for a loop, I was like, wait a minute. I kind of get. I understand the Rock are red and blue. The Maple Leafs are blue and white. The Raptors, the old Husky colors, blue and white. And even the Argos, blue.
Think about it though. You look at the Toronto Six, the old women's team, the PHF team.
Yeah,
they were Ottawa colors. They were black, red, and gold. Mm-hmm. People are like, why are you more connected to Ottawa than you are Toronto? Like, what does Toronto, like, black, red, and gold have to do with anything? And I know the Raptors have black, red, and gold, and we can have that argument about the Raptors side of marketing because I think they've missed the mark on a lot of things. Oh, yeah. And I feel like they've lost their brand identity a little bit. But I feel like when you have a connected sports city and you go completely off base, no matter what team, like what league you're in, if you go completely out of left field, it just doesn't work out. It's like the Red Sox. You've seen the Red Sox City Connect jerseys?
Yeah.
The yellow and blue, like the Boston city flag colors, and how many people like were like, this isn't the Red Sox colors.
Yeah.
This doesn't look good.
It doesn't incorporate. But one thing you can say about the Toronto Argonauts, any jersey that they've made, fire. They've incorporated their colors so well, and their jersey, especially the ones in the 90s, fire.
They need to bring back the navy.
Yes.
In my opinion, get rid of the white, just run the navy and Cambridge blue. Like, get rid of it. Just run navy and Cambridge blue. There's no reason for you guys to have a white jersey.
They're kind of crispy.
Like, if you want to have it, that's great. I'm just saying that, like,
the one with the wings is dope. I'll give them that.
They're not wings though. They're oars.
I'll be goddamned. I'm so.
Again, when I first saw it, I thought they were also wings, but then you look at it and they're like, no, they're like the boat oars that you use to row those boats.
I thought they were going Oregon Ducks on y'all. I was like, oh damn, that's fucking dope.
But like, you do the navy and the Cambridge blue as your home and away, and then if you want to have a white set because you want to keep your white set, that's great. But you have the navy pants. You've been wearing the navy pants. Why not just wear the navy? Bring back the navy shirt or the jersey. Bring back the navy helmet. Have your navy and blue set. Your navy and Cambridge, because realistically, Ottawa, Hamilton, Montreal, Winnipeg, they all go against that Cambridge blue. Like there's no cross. So it's not like you're going to have to clash with another team at any point.
Right. Yeah.
And you can wear your navies at home when the other team's wearing their white.
Yeah, that's true. I give it. You know what though? I will say this though, and I hate that I'm going to give them credit, but we've made peace. Hamilton, those don't ever change your colors. The Hamilton Ticats, that black and yellow, especially when they were all black. I give it to them. I
hate it so much. I hate it. I hate the all black look so much.
But okay, what about Calgary's original black jerseys?
The black jerseys are fire.
Yeah. No, thank you.
The I'm assuming you're talking about the one that they had the gradient helmet with the chrome horse. Yeah, those jerseys are fire. I love those jerseys. But even Hamilton is black and yellow. That black jersey, yellow pant look, and their white jersey, yellow pant look, clean. I never want to see Hamilton in all black. I hate it. It just doesn't feel like Hamilton. I don't know. I don't know. I just yellow and black, white and yellow, or black and yellow, white and yellow. The yellow pants are a signature Hamilton look. When they do anything but, I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. The yellow pants is Hamilton.
Okay, you know one, and I had a conversation when I first went to Regina. First trip, I met Craig Reynolds, and I asked Craig. I said, "When are you guys going to bring back the black jerseys?" He says they were going to, and then COVID hit. We will never see that probably for a long time.
Oh, thank God! Best thing about COVID.
No, oh my God, I love people. I have one black jersey, and I don't know where it is. I think it's somewhere in my closet, but I love that damn jersey. It's old, but it was given to me, and I'm like, I hold on to this one forever.
I'm assuming you've seen the Saskatchewan Roughriders red black jersey, right? From like 2012 or 2013.
I think maybe. God,
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick because
pull it up.
Oh my God!
Now, what is now? You said it's the. Is it like a game, or if they wore it one game, or what?
Yeah.
I'm scared.
They wore it. It was like a throwback jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 20. I know Darian Durant wore it. And no, not shopping.
You know, and there's one shirt. Show me.
It was the retro centennial jersey. Let me just share my screen real quick because it's.
Is it bad? For y'all listening on Spotify and Apple Music, y'all got to get it when you get a chance. Watch the actual video.
It's these ones right here.
Let's see.
So yeah, these ones.
Okay, zoom in. Let me zoom in. I think I can zoom in. What the fuck?
Yeah, buddy.
Why would you wear that?
It was their centennial.
I don't give a damn if it's a bicentennial or centennial, whatever. You don't wear that. Your colors are meant to be green. Why would
have you seen Hamilton's?
I'm scared. Have you seen y'all's when y'all went blue, yellow, and red?
Oh yes, it's awful, and we hated it. But look at this, the Hamilton Wildcats. Honestly, I think they're sick, but.
Well, let's move on to the 2000s. I'm sick. My stomach hurt.
Yeah,
2000s offense. God damn it.
That failed rebrand. That was the Rough Riders that lasted like 2 years and basically bankrupted the Rough Riders. Like it absolutely destroyed them. To be fair, the best thing to come out of that was the logo because I'm big fan of the logo, but hate the color scheme. Color scheme was awful.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll give that to you.
Color scheme was awful.
It was atrocious.
It was horrible. Red, blue, and gold. Like, why? Why?
I give credit to Calgary, Edmonton, and Toronto. They've stuck. They've really never really had to rebrand as much because their colors are outstanding.
Yep.
You can't fuck that up.
BC needs to bring back their orange jersey though.
Yeah.
Fuck their black jersey. They should be orange and silver. Don't care.
We'll have a discussion about that another time. That's.
See, I don't hate it. I'm not saying it's bad. They're orange and silver. They're that when I think BC, it's orange and silver. You got the orange jersey, silver pants. It's just.
All right, you're kind of cooking right now. You're kind of selling me on a little bit.
I'm just saying, like. The Travis Lule, the orange and white, 2011 when they won the Grey Cup. Like, that orange, nasty. Orange and white, nasty look.
Winnipeg didn't land on their jerseys until they made the new ones.
I love the 2000s ones, like the Milt Stegall. I hate their alternate. Their alternate's ugly. Their current alternate is ugly.
the blue with the W, the big W on it.
Yeah, I didn't.
I like that one.
2014 vibes. Let's just keep them there.
I'm gonna let you have that one.
I think there's only 2 jerseys that came out of that 2014, maybe 3 jerseys that came out of that 2014 line that are still around that were good.
Debatable.
So,
all right.
I mean, BC's, Hamilton's, and Saskatchewan's are the only 3 that are still around. So,
yeah, but the 90s ones are still undefeated.
Oh, 100%. But again,
with the big ass Argo on the side and all, like, that's hard.
Oh yeah, or the Argo. See, I love it, kind of cartoonish, but the Argo, the Jason the Argonaut, coming out of the side at the bottom, sick. I love that.
Oh yeah. Oh come on, man. Come on, we talk. And then
so beauty.
Hamilton's with the big ass tiger on the shoulder, but yeah, all right, I'll get it to y'all. That's, I'll give it to him. All right, 2000s offense.
2000s offense. This one was hard because Montreal is right there. SJ Green, Richardson, Calvillo, Calhoun, that offense with like Pringles still there, like it's right there. That Montreal offense, like is right there to pick. But I just, that Edmonton offense was also very good. Calgary was very good. I still think Montreal is kind of just right there. Like they just were dominant. They were consistent. They had the names, but it gets really interesting near the mid to end of 2000, because like John Cornish, like those Calgary teams were very, very good. Like the Nick Lewis and John Cornish and all of it, like they were with Henry Burris, Chef Kiss, like those 2 teams. Toss up, but I think you got to go Montreal because they won more. They ended up winning more. That's why I'm going to put Montreal. But they were both really exciting offenses to watch, and I think you got to give it to the offense that won the more rings.
Oh man, see, offense is so. See, I hate that because. In that from 2000 to about 2009, the offenses, other than Montreal's offense, it was boring. It was like a dead period.
It was very ground heavy.
Yeah, it was like dominant running backs. Every year it was somebody that was making a difference. I mean, and it's funny because. What was it a couple of years ago is when we had the running back renaissance with every team having a dominant running back.
Yeah.
So it's like that weird era of like, we're going to run the ball. You would think it's weird to think that in the CFL where the field is so open, ground and pound was the style. For me, defensively, that's tough. Because there weren't any like powerhouse defenses, but they were sneaky. They did their job well enough to where they were successful. I'm gonna give Edmonton some love. I'm gonna give them a little bit of love, man. It was still, they had some hitters, but it wasn't like what they were in the 90s, but like Willie Pless and all those big guys on the defense. But I'm gonna go with Edmonton. Edmonton or Calgary. Calgary was still the class.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I don't exist. Montreal's was good. But I don't think it really took off to the level that we saw until the end of the 2000s.
Yeah.
Like I feel like early to mid 2000s, they were just kind of like, they were good enough to win, but they were never like, they were nothing fun. They were nothing exceptional. They were nothing to write home about. They were just like, we talk about quarterbacks being game managers. I think the defense was very much a game managing defense.
Yeah.
And allowed the offense to win them games and could, put up stops when needed. But you're never going to look at those defenses and be like, oh yeah, they're all time defenses. They're not a defense that gets talked about, 25, 30 years after they've won a championship.
Yeah, I'll get it to you. I would say like a lot of those defenses in that 2000s era often gets forgotten because there were never, I feel like they were never like you said, all-time greats, or they didn't rewrite the record book or anything like that. They just did enough to where, especially in a Montreal situation where they have all these weapons and you got to go out there and like, well, we just got to get off on second down. That's all we got to do. We just got to get off the field on second down. We can't just get ran up and down the field. They did just enough to get the ball back in the offense's hands. Offense is going to score again, and we just can't tire out. So
Who's a dog from that, like that 2000, like late 2000s when like Montreal started peaking up?
Who?
Chip Cox. Absolute menace.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that. There are no
straight all CFL All-Stars.
Now
East All-Stars. I'll be East All-Stars. But still, 6 straight, nasty work.
You know what? I know we talked about the 90s, but we got to give some love to I got to give a love to my linebackers, man. Joe Montford. He won him and Willie Plus. I think it was probably that mid 90s where they were trading off who was winning Defensive Player of the Year. Most outstanding defensive player. It was like 3 years. I think it was like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. One of them won it 3 or 4 straight years as a linebackers.
Yeah. And then you also have like Avon Coburn at running back for Montreal during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute nasty.
Can you put SJ Green in the same conversation as Alan Pitts?
Ooh, that's tough.
Because
I love SJ Green, man. Like, he was one of those players growing up where you're like, oh man, like you knew you're getting magic out of him every time he was on the field. That's tough.
Because he was high wire. He big play.
I don't think so.
But he could go get it. That's the thing.
I know, but he was never like the guy.
But the thing is that one play, it's the Odell Beckham syndrome. I felt like Odell made that one great catch, and people forget Odell's first few years where he was the most dynamic receiver in the league.
He had a really powerful 3 years, and then started to get
powerful.
hurt.
And SJ,
he's one of those guys that, like, if he didn't get hurt after year 3, like if his like that injury in year 4,
that ankle it was ankle.
Yeah, like destroyed his ankle.
Yeah, then he tore his ACL with the Rams and that shit year he had with the Browns. But the thing was about Odell was he was marketed so well.
Yeah.
And you believed that Odell could do things that nobody else could do because he ain't that big. He was just dynamic. And I felt like, SJ,
I love me some SJ. I love SJ Green, but he was never the guy. He like even like he had Coburn, he had Calhoun, he had Richardson. Like he was never the guy in an offense. Even when he went to Toronto, he was never the guy.
But in this situation, everything is situational. We agreed, everything is situational.
Yeah, but when comparing Alan Pitts to him, like Alan Pitts was the guy.
Yeah, Alan Pitts, right? But Alan Pitts also, you got to remember, Alan Pitts had Pee Wee Smith. He had Danielson, the slot back, I think. Danielson, somebody, the big white boy. They had him. You had not Marvin Coleman. Coleman was defense. But
he was still the guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was still the number one receiver. He was still the number one playmaker. I don't know.
De facto number one. And I can understand SJ. Was he ever the number one guy? No.
And there's no disrespect to SJ. Like, I think in the CFL, like especially in the CFL, you need more than one receiver to be the guy to win a Grey Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But when SJ Green is like the leader of the best receivers who you can put anywhere on the field, and they'll have an impact.
You can move him around.
Like, it doesn't matter what receiver position he was in. he would always have an impact on the game, and he always seemed to be like the most team first guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember any type of situation where he was making a fuss of like not getting the targets, not having the yards if the team was winning.
Yeah. And he's a
right?
good dude. Good dude.
I just like I can't honestly. There's no one in the 2000s that I can put in like the Alan Pitts conversation. I don't think we've seen a true number one receiver with it like the way we did with Alan Pitts since Alan Pitts and Milt Stegall retired. Milt Stegall played a hell of a long time. But like I would even say Milt like since Milt Stegall has stopped playing, I don't think we've seen another true number one receiver like those guys since.
What about G-Roy?
He was great, but he had help on his team. Right? He had Arlen, like he had other weapons. He never commanded the defense the way that like that Pitts and Milt did. Like it's like we're gonna talk about it in a little bit because they're gonna be my team for this one's tough, but like the 2010s. But like you look at like that 2013 Rough Riders team, right? Simon, Fantuz, Dressler, Getzlaff. Like there was so many guys. It was kind of pick and choose who you wanted at the like who you wanted, right? There's never been a receiver who
commanded the ball, but also you can
commanded the defense.
They made the defense. We're gonna stop him and force you to throw to everybody else.
Yeah, and like I think that's honestly more of an indictment of where the receivers in the CFL have gone than anything. I don't think it's a slight that we haven't had a true number one receiver in that regard since then. I think that's actually an improvement on our overall receiving depth, team to team, league wide.
Well,
where teams don't necessarily because like what's the quote? Maybe Kenny Lawler.
Yes, I was just about to say.
But even then, Kenny has had some really great teammates that can beat a team if you try to section off Kenny, right? Like Keandre Smith, Tim White, Shamar Bridges, Nick Dembski, Dalton Schoen, like
Drew Woltarsky.
Yeah, like he's had other weapons in those offenses that allowed him those majority one-on-one situations.
But are you okay? I'll say this as a defensive person, the defensive side of the ball. Are we when it comes to someone like an Alan Pitts compared to a Kenny Lawler? For you being an offensive guy, what separates Kenny Lawler from Alan Pitts?
For me personally,
yeah,
I think it's the fact that even like you had to double him. You had to like the offense was him.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't to disrespect any of the other receivers on the teams, but I think you look at what Milt and what Pitts did was that if you wanted a chance to win, you had to stop them from doing well.
Yeah.
When you look at guys over the last 15, 20 years, it's been like we saw it last year with Kenny Lawler, right? You would stop Kenny Lawler and then Tim White or Keandre Smith would put up 120 yards on your ass and you'd lose by 5 because they both got touchdowns. They put up 100 yards, but Kenny Lawler got 40 yards. He only got two targets. So you shut down Kenny, but the other 2 went off. Right? Like, and this isn't to, I'm not saying this is the disrespect towards those players. Not at all. I think this is an indictment of how far the receivers have come. Because I think it's the same thing in the NFL for the most part. But I think now with the CFL game is that you need more than one true receiver. I think you're seeing like with Ottawa, right? You have Eugene Lewis, Justin Hardy as your 1-2. Right? And then you also like you have your depth guys who if a defense wants to cherry pick one of those two, should be able to provide offense and provide you some success in the passing game.
But is that an indictment when we're talking 2000s to even to now? Is it an indictment against the creativity of the offense, or is it an indictment against the player? Because you can only do so much with what you're being told to do.
I don't think it's an indictment against either. I think it's
because I feel like, because for me, from my vantage point, the creativity offensively has not been there for a couple years. I mean, it's not like Seattle Seahawks offense where we know the first scripted play is going to be a screen to Doug Baldwin. Like, it's not that bad. Where we know.
I think it's a little bit of both, but I don't think. I think it's more with maybe with the play calling than the players. But I also think it's also giving what I think it's more about defensive coaching versus offensive coaching, right?
Has defense? I think defense is caught up with some of the offenses.
Like if I'm an OC and I have a Kenny Lawler on my team, the chances of you having a safety roll over the top on him, if more likely than not, it's going to happen more often than not. Yeah. Which means I'm going to have a one-on-one. I'm going to have an advantage down the field. I need a receiver who can take advantage of that. So if I have a guy like Keandre Smith or Tim White, who's in Winnipeg now, but like Keandre Smith, who can provide that insurance, cool. If I have Keandre Smith one-on-one, if I can get him open, he is good enough to win me this, like help win this game. And Kenny, we don't have to force feed Kenny, right? We don't have to we don't have to put Bo Levi in a situation where he has to force feed the ball to Kenny all the time and put himself in turning the ball over.
Okay, and so like we mentioned that during the season on the show, spamming the Kenny, Bo spamming the Kenny.
Yeah, and I mentioned it like at one point in time, that was their offense. Mm-hmm. Kenny Lawler had like 4 straight weeks or 3 straight weeks where he put up over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like if Kenny wasn't going, could the rest of the team win? And they proved me wrong. They won because Keandre Smith and Tim White were having these 300-yard games and Kenny Lawler was putting up 42 yards.
Yeah, all right.
But again, I don't think it should be taken as a negative towards receivers. I don't think this is a negative. Like Kenny Lawler's a great receiver. He's arguably the best current receiver in the league.
Mm-hmm. Dynamic.
But I don't think it's a negative or should be looked at as a negative to say that he's not in the same caliber or in the same bracket as an Alan Pitts, because I think the game has evolved so much that he doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Like the offenses don't require this, require a true number one dominant receiver to be successful.
But all right, I get it, because I was originally going to say, but yeah, never mind. All right.
Because I think Saskatchewan's a prime example, right? When Keyshawn was out for the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
Right? There was a lot of questions. Oh, who's going to step up? Who's going to step up? Right? I think that in the CFL, you can't afford to have a true number one receiver like you used to. Yeah. You need the depth. You need your offense to be able to hit all 5 receivers to be successful.
The depth is important, and the game has evolved, which is what a lot of people don't want to hear, is that the game has evolved from what they knew. Which I love that the game evolves. We move forward, cultures, organizations change, and as far as offense goes, you got to have depth. You can't just have a dominant one. You got to have a 1, 2, 3, 4 down the depth chart.
Exactly. So who's your defense?
This was tough. There was really nobody that stood out to me, and I guess I can go with. I'm gonna stick with Calgary. Calgary, at least, consistency, just straight consistency.
See, maybe an underrated take, but Winnipeg.
See, when we get into the 2010s, I know they had like 1 year where they got to the Grey Cup, but that front line made a huge difference. And they had Javon Johnson. I'm going to talk about that in a minute when we get to
Javon's a beauty.
Oh God. Oh,
Um,
we'll get to let's get to the 2010s. Who you got offensively?
2010s. So this one's tough, right? Between like 2010 and 2019, there was a lot of great offenses, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of great ones. 2015 Red Blacks when they had 4,000-yard receivers comes to mind right away. 2013 Rough Riders where they were just destined to win the Grey Cup. There was no doubt in my mind when they were going into that game that they were going to win. Like, again, Giroy, Dressler, Fantu, Simon, like that Sheets, like that team was destined offensively to win the Grey Cup.
We talked about it last week, but still, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it after we finished talking about it. But Corey Sheets, man, that was not that was a cheat code. That was a damn cheat code.
He
Having
was
Corey
great.
Sheets.
Man, any Madden from like 2011, I think 2011 or 2012 to like 2015. He was in the game, and I would always add him. I would have tweaked his stats a little bit, but I always added him onto my team. Whenever I was playing Madden, always added him.
But his running style, like we mentioned before, his running style complemented that offensive line. He was able to get skinny when he needed to against that tough Hamilton defense. Even just the whole that people say, oh, it was just like that one game. No, leading up to it, he was making it dynamic. But that offense, yes, that whole offense, just weapons. I'll give it to you on that one. 2013 Riders, nasty.
2017, that again, that Argos offense with SJ Green and Ricky Ray, and like that was a great offense too. Like there was a lot of them. Early 2010s, Argonauts when they had like Chad Owens, Chad Cacker, like there's a lot of really good offenses in this decade. Part of me kind of wants to be a homer and take the Red Blacks from like 2015 to 2018 because they were some high flying offenses. But I think you got to go Calgary here if you're looking at the complete decade.
Mm-hmm.
With like since like 20, like when Bo took over to 2015, they were one of the best offenses in the league. You got like John Cornish and Messam. Like they had running back after running back after running back. They had Bagleton came in. Every time they seemed to be down and out, they weren't. And everyone's like, oh, you got questions and whatnot. Like I think Calgary was so dominant during the mid to late 2010s that you have to put them there.
But that was, and the funny thing was that was a young Bo where Bo would just sit in the pocket and he's like, I want you to come get me because I'm just gonna throw this shit over the top. You could roll safety, you could play whatever coverage. I'm still gonna throw it deep, which did cost them in 2016 because that was like the year, that was that 1 year where they were just spamming to an ungodly level of throwing it deep.
Hey man, that shoelace tackle. Abdul Kenna, that shoelace. Man, Charles, no wonder he retired and became a doctor.
Hey, do what you got to do, fam.
Exactly.
Forever. So defensively, I'm gonna go Swaggerville, Winnipeg. That it was 1 year, but it was a year of presence. You have Odell Willis. Shout out to Odell. You've got Javon Johnson. That defense was, and they went up against a very seasoned and not really beatable. That was their year. BC with a young Andrew Harris. You got Giroy. You've got Bruce. You've got that offense and Lule at quarterback. It was their year.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, maybe this is a little bit of homerism coming in, but like the 2015-16 Bank Street Bullies for Ottawa, nasty.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Javon Johnson, part of it, but like those guys were mean. They were aggressive. They'd make you pay, and it pissed them off every time someone got up from a hit.
Damn.
And I'm not saying they went out there to like intentionally hurt them because like that no player, not no player. There are some players, but no player on that team was going out there to intentionally hurt them. But if you're going to sit here and say that defensive players aren't going out there to
knock your fucking block off,
they're trying to hurt you but not injure you, right? They want you to feel it. That was kind of what they were doing. If you got up, they were mad.
Yeah.
They hit you harder next time. So, but I agree. I think that 2011 BC versus like that Winnipeg defense in 2011 was top notch, and then I think one of the more underrated defenses. I don't think a lot of people talk about the early 2011, 2012, 2013 seem to always be forgotten when we're talking about 2010 football.
Yeah, because it was such 2011 was BC, 2012 was
Toronto. Chad Kacker, baby.
And then 2013, obviously the Riders.
Yeah. 2014 was Calgary.
Yeah.
Because that was Hamilton back-to-back losses.
Henry Burris just couldn't get over the hump at that time.
He wasn't there. It was Collaros. Collaros was 2013.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Brandon Banks. God damn it. Okay. Yep.
Burris was first year Ottawa.
Yes. Yep. My bad. Yeah, the Brandon Banks play.
They got rid of Burris because he got thumped against the Rough Riders in 2013, even though that team was, no one was beating it. There's no way in hell any team in 2013 was beating the Rough Riders.
That was the best team money could buy. That was New York Yankees level of we gonna spend some fucking money.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then that 20 again. I love that 2013 team. Like that 13, and even on the defensive side of the ball with like John Chick and all of them, and like that defensive side of the ball was also really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, that team was like a dream come true for a Riders fan.
Oh yeah, it was everything. It was when you go back there, that's all you hear about. They don't talk about 07. They don't talk. They do talk about obviously the greatest kick ever. It was 89 89 when they beat Hamilton.
Yeah,
but they talk about that 2013 team. That's God tier level of Rider football.
Yeah, again, that team was amazing. I loved watching that team every week.
Oh yeah,
it was so much fun. Are we doing 2020s or is it too?
Let's have the conversation.
So this one's interesting because I was looking at it. Cody Fajardo, Montreal, that offense with like Austin Mack and Philpott and all that, very dominant. Obviously, last year with Bo and Hamilton, and Kenny and White and Smith and Bell. You had a couple of years with Winnipeg with Collaros and Schoen and Lawler. Those are kind of the three that like stick out like sore thumbs from 21 to 25. I'm gonna go with Winnipeg, and I think it's just the consistency, right? Like the 2021, 2022, 2023, those offenses were nasty, right? Like Dalton Schoen with back-to-back 12 plus, like he had 1,400 yards and 1,200 yards. And obviously, like you had Nick Dembski and Andrew Harris and Johnny Augustine, and obviously like Kenny Lawler for the most part.
Brady,
Rasheed Bailey, like
you forgot Brady Oliveira.
Yeah, well, I said Brady.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay, all right.
I said Brady and Johnny. Yeah,
that is the offense.
Yeah, like. They had weapons after weapons, and like they had depth.
You gotta throw Antari. How you pronounce his name? Antari Wilson.
Yeah, Antari Wilson. Like,
yeah, he made a difference. I give it to you. That boy made a difference.
You had Alfred, who's now signed his second NFL contract. Like, you on defense, but that offense though was something. And obviously, you have Stanley Bryan and Patrick Neufeld, and you have all like that offensive line was just nasty, like as nasty as you can get.
Yeah, probably because based off of You said consistency, but just look at the tier level. Look at the tiers. They can hit you short. They can hit you intermediate. They can hit you deep. They can hit you on the sideline. I got pissed off way too many times at Kenny because Kenny just be making catches that were
You talk about a team that you couldn't double a guy because if you did and you left someone one-on-one,
yeah,
you were screwed.
Yeah, and this is what, and I'm very excited that I'm going to be talking with Buck Pierce to ask these questions, like how do you draw up these you have these weapons, how do you draw up these certain plays and get them the ball? Like how do you do that? Because you have and keep these guys happy because you at one point you've got a Brady Oliveira, you've a young Brady Oliveira, you've got a older Andrew Harris who won fucking Grey Cup MVP and most outstanding Canadian. You feeding him the rock. You've got a Kenny Lawler. At one point, you've got a Darvin Adams. You've got like people forget that they had fucking everything, and
they were stacked. They were stacked,
and even on defense. I'll talk about their defense in a second right now, but their offense it was like and Woltarsky and Dalton Schoen and
it was just depth and plug and play pieces.
Yeah.
Right? Like it felt like it was the next man. And this is, I'll give Mike O'Shea. This is why I think Mike O'Shea is the best coach in the last 15 years. Because even when you doubt him, he proves you wrong. Right? You look at the team, you're like, oh, this isn't going to be good. You got 1-2 injuries here. You don't have the depth. Well, guess what? We got it.
Okay, let me ask you this question. This is just not to be controversial or nothing like that. Why didn't Winnipeg win all 5?
Because their OCs are garbage.
I'm sorry.
You blame the play caller. I'm going to be very honest. Brady had 5 touches against Toronto? What the fuck are we doing?
Okay, when we were all in the house for that one. That was unheard of.
What are we doing here? Why? I think it was at halftime. He had 3 touches. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I get you got down, but you got down because you weren't running the fucking ball.
What
are we doing here, Buck? Buck, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
No, it was just straight up play calling. And I mean, there was some injury luck because Caleros getting hurt. That kind of throws things in there. But
it was the finger injury all over the world, all over Canada. Everybody was wondering what was up with his finger.
Yeah.
And
it was just bad play calling. It's like Baltimore with Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. And they just randomly stop running the ball in the second half and they lose. And people are like, oh, what happened? Lamar can't finish it. No. It's easy to stop an offense when all you got to do about it, worry about, is the fucking pass.
Remember the argument they had about...
this is why Ottawa has sucked so much.
Yeah. Okay, so remember the argument. I remember hearing this for weeks during the NFL season, and I know we're talking CFL, but as you mentioned Derrick Henry, there was an argument that they kept having about why are they running Derrick Henry out of shotgun when he's under the center back, I formation, run it heavy. It's the same thing with Brady. Could you have that same argument?
I mean, yes and no. I think the CFL doesn't. I mean, you can run the eye, and I think not enough teams run the eye formation.
Most time they're in a pistol look.
Yeah, and I feel like the CFL you can definitely run the eye. It just might take some quarterbacks to get used to again, but you definitely can run under center. I think the problem is that when you have and I mean this is more so for maybe Baltimore, when you have a quarterback like Lamar, running him under the eye can be very disadvantageous to Lamar.
And I'm not saying go under center with Brady. I'm saying more is there a similarity? Would you say there's a similarity with the Derrick Henry?
No, because I think it is the patience to find a hole. And he has the acceleration, so you don't necessarily need him running downhill at a defense.
Yeah.
But what I think it does is it forces it allows the defensive ends to crash in when you constantly do it.
But it also keeps the linebackers on their heel. It gets them on their heels because at some point, one thing
True,
about
but
Zach,
at some point when you're running out of pistol all the time and you're not doing like I think the problem is if you're running out of pistol, you have to throw it out. You need play action out of it.
yeah,
If
but that's
all your
what
runs are coming out of pistol and you're not doing a play action, you're not doing an RPO, the ends are just I would expect the ends to crash in and the linebackers to kind of cheat a little.
But what you do is, and we saw them when they played Montreal. Montreal would bring into the slot, into the alley. They would have a Reggie Stubblefield. They would have a Tyrese Beverett. They would have an Ento. They would have Marc-Antoine Dequoy at one point in time. It sucks that he retired, but they would bring them in the box and they bring them out into the alley. And he's like, we want you to roll out here. We want to force you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mentioned it before in a video. I was like, if you force Zach to roll out the pocket, it's two things can happen. He's either going to complete the pass or you're going to get a sack. You just have to get there to him.
Yeah. And I think if you're not mixing up the play calls in a formation, you allow players and you allow defensive coordinators to win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're losing the chess game. There was one rule that one of my head coaches had growing up was I better not see 3 runs out of the same formation and the same set without at least a pass to break it up.
Mix it up. You got to throw off the
because if you're running out of pistol and you got 3 straight handoffs and you're going nowhere on them, they're gonna know it's a pass and the play action dies.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what route concept you have or what combo you want to run, motherfucker, we know you're throwing it.
Yeah.
And even then, if you're still in the same set, you can only do so much.
Yeah. And like he's like, if you want to run it 3 times, that's fine, but it better not be out of the same formation.
A lot of offensive coordinators don't see that. They're
like put it in fucking double back. Do a 2 backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do a T formation. Do something that isn't the same thing.
Right. Now, when we talk defenses, this is tough because I would love to go with Winnipeg's defense. I would love to. I would love to say that they lived up to the standard, but it was the first two Grey Cups. Yes, I give it to them. Those defenses were outstanding. But my heart, I don't want to be a homer and be like, yeah, the 2025 Riders. I don't want to do that.
That defense was nasty.
Huh?
That defense was nasty.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I'm so glad to have Revis and Allen in Ottawa.
Fuck you. I'm happy they got paid.
Hey, just gives you a reason to come to Ottawa.
I know, and I do got to get a Revis number 8 jersey. But no, I'm gonna. You know what's funny? I'm gonna go with that Toronto defense. Excuse me. God damn it.
What in 24?
Ooh, yes. That performance they put on that Grey Cup was outstanding.
And what they did to Ottawa,
disrespectful.
See, I thought it was between them and Montreal the year prior.
Yeah,
that Montreal defense, those 2 defenses are arguably the best defenses outside of this year's this past year's Rough Riders. Like those 3 are arguably the best 3 defenses since 2021.
Okay,
better than, in my opinion, they're better than either 21 or 22 Bombers.
Okay, if I could put it on a top 3, I'm gonna put Montreal number 1 because that defense, they rewrote a lot of shit, and they did what Tampa did to Kansas City, where everybody started running the cover 2 shell to stop these RPOs and these big plays, but they rewrote it by bringing down the halfbacks and making things happen and just rushing off the edge.
And what they like, I don't think people realize like Winnipeg could have won. Like play calling was an issue in 23 for Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you got to give Montreal their flowers for how they played that game against them.
They cut the field in half.
Yeah,
the game was not. I won't say the game was boring, but it was for a defensive person. I was fucking happy.
It was a great game.
Yeah,
if you love Like if you love actual football and not just the offensive side of the ball,
Yeah.
it was a fantastic game because both defenses were really, really good.
Yeah. And it came
But
down.
man,
And it came down. Why the fuck would you call a cover fucking what was it? Cover 0
yeah,
in the
they
red
left the middle of the field open.
and the
One on
slant.
one with Philpott. Yeah.
But number 2, if it's their number 1, I'm gonna go 2 with the Toronto defense, 3 the Rider defense. And I'm not even because I don't want to be a homer, but that Toronto that we were in the house. You were just okay for y'all listening. You had to be in the house at BC Place and witness this performance. That second half, and it was like am I correct me if I'm wrong? There was like 3 straight drives where they scored. Or what was the one where Witten should have scored on the fumble recovery?
Yeah, it was like a pick six, and then another pick six. It was crazy. It was probably
Benji
one
Franklin
of the
scored.
best. Like offensive aside, they would have won the game from their defensive scores.
Yeah, Tavares McFadden got one. Benji Franklin.
To be fair, Willie Jefferson should have got one that game.
Because Willie put on a fucking performance for the Agents.
Should have been MVP.
Yeah. You know what? We had that conversation. Like, yeah, he should, because he
should have been MVP that game.
That is the Willie Jefferson that I know and obviously stand for. Like, that was his swan song.
In my opinion, Willie Jefferson and Wynton McManus should have been the 2 MVPs of that game.
Yes, because Wynton's if Wynton would have scored, yes.
Like those 2 guys were unbelievable.
And you know what though? You know who was like the unsung hero of that game that made the difference and shifted the tide? Jake Ceresna.
100%.
And that's gonna be fucking scary this season. Him and Willie on the same defense. That is
hopefully.
If they can if Jake can stay healthy.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm gonna go. That's my 3. I'm gonna go with those. But as far as like right now, we're in the 2020 era. That's the best defense I've seen. That Montreal defense.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have plenty more to talk about later this year because I think this year we could have some of the best defenses across the board that we've ever seen. I would not be shocked if by week like 10 people are talking about the lack of scoring.
Yeah,
because of how well the defenses are.
But the same thing was said last year because everybody had a competent quarterback, and except for Ottawa, Drew got hurt. But
yeah, and more than Drew, we lost. I think this is one thing that annoys me that never gets talked about.
You were doing it.
We lost 2 safeties on back-to-back plays near the end of the year. Back-to-back. Darius Pickett was playing safety at one point because of it. It was literally just safety got hurt. Next play, safety got hurt. Next play, Pickett was at safety. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are you at safety here? Why are you the furthest man back? I think it was against the Rough Riders, actually. I think it was right before Wakefield took the ball. Like it was that fumble near the Ottawa goal line. Mm-hmm. And then Wakefield stripped it out. And we like ran it back. I think it was a touchdown. It was the 2 plays or 3 plays before that incident that those 2 injuries occurred.
For y'all listening, if you have not heard our weekly show, Shane will go off about Ottawa. And at one point last season, it was every week. It was
to be fair, last year was rough. I needed a place to vent. I
felt you. Well, I was happy. I had shit to worry about.
Yeah. The best team in the league, blah, blah, blah. I get it.
But y'all, it was like, at one point, it was like, we knew it. We were talking about it before we even went on. It was like, do you need to vent? Do you need to get this off?
It's frustrating. Like I don't think I've been through some like 14 years. Last year was arguably the worst experience because nothing. It wasn't like we went 4-14 and you knew the team was going to be bad. Mm-hmm. Like we've had those teams, there was so much optimism heading into this season based off what was on paper. And then just seeing like the injury after injury after injury, just like kill. Like, there was over 20 guys on the injured list at one point last year.
That was the ugliest season I've seen. You know, I believe Ottawa is the little engine that could. That was I felt bad, bro. I was depressed for y'all because that was like,
I don't think people realize between the 6 and the 1 game injured list, there was like 23 people on at one point, and half of them were starters.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing? We can't win like this. Like, what?
And then y'all sent Lorenzo to Calgary. You got Bryce Carter I think Bryce was hurt at one point, which that was supposed to be obviously the tandem. Mike Wakefield had to step up. There was the linebacking core was depleted.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that secondary core was also depleted. Like that defense.
The whole defense was fucked up.
And our offensive line was also depleted. You had your right tackle get hurt in camp. Your starting right tackle get hurt at camp. Your backup right tackle retire due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have your 2 starting centers hurt during camp. So you have a guy who's never played center before starting at center for the first 5 weeks of the season. You end up having a rookie who you weren't expecting to play much this year starting games. Like anything that could go bad went bad for Ottawa last year, and hopefully things will be different this year.
Well, I got the number 1 pick.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how much if there's any cap related removals.
Oh, so we'll talk about it offline.
We'll see.
I want Bill Beatty to cut us off.
But that'll be all for this show. This is a little longer than normal, but this is what you get when you get us 2 in the room. We just love football. We love the CFL. We'll talk about anything and everything regarding the CFL. But thank you for joining on YouTube or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. Weekly episodes. We're still working out a schedule, so hopefully once the regular season starts, we'll have a consistent schedule drop. Remember to make sure you also are staying tuned for the CFL Weekly Show. CFL Draft or CFL Combine is a week away. The draft's a month and a half. We are less than 2 months away from rookie camps opening and main camps opening a week later. So we are so close to June. We can almost taste it. If the weather could cooperate, it would be great. But thank you all. Remember to head up to Royal Retros, grab yourself some Trench Talk, 13th Man football, and CFF gear. Link will be in the comments below or in our Linktree page in our bios on socials. Stay safe. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will catch you here next week with a brand new episode of Trench Talk. See ya.
See ya.